Hi everyone, I'm continuing my reflections today, and today I'm using the gospel for the day, which is about how a tiny little mustard seed can grow into a big shrub and the birds of the air can come nest in it, and also how when you take yeast and you mix it in the flour, it leavens through everything and the bread rises. And so it is in our society. Whatever teachings we have, whatever values we have, those are the values that go out from us into the world. And in Canada, there's a lot of different values. It's a pluralistic society, just like in the days of the Romans. And the Romans believed that they were God. They believed that they were in control and they were God-made man. So Jesus flips that round of them, but he says it, but then other people confirm it. And so it continues, the tradition continues. But the Romans, unlike Jesus, did not produce miracles. They did not help the poor. They did not show mercy on anyone. For the smallest of crimes, like the Muslims, they were the harshest of penalties. So some of these teachings come from the Old Testament, an eye for an eye and cutting off the arm and all this. But there's a lot of favoritism in how those things get applied. If you look at the corruption that took place in the Liberal Party, you look at what happened with Bill Morneau, you look at these big speaking engagements that they had, and Bill Morneau got let go. He was told to step down. But it's Justin Trudeau's family that were doing it. And he's still the Prime Minister. People are still voting for him. People are still supporting him. He's at an assassin stand next to his wife in India. The Indian government is saying he was having drugs on the plane in India. There's a whole lot of things which don't make sense in how Canada votes. And then they criticize Zimbabwe and all these places. So anyway, that's how the values go out into society and into the world. It starts with what we plant in us. And I know for me, when I couldn't get work, when I was struggling to get work, a lot of people were calling me a prostitute. Oh, how does she stay there? What does she do? I have family. I have a mother who loves me. I have an aunt who loves me. And they don't want me to stay with people, especially. Because it's better if you're on your own, in your own home and your own space, and you can live independently. And that's how somehow I managed. For the first few years I was fine. I had my savings from my condo that I sold. But in Canada, the interest rates keep going up and up and up, and the wages are staying stagnant. So everybody's struggling. We're trying to put in extra hours when we get them. But even many workplaces are cutting back. So it's a difficult position to be in. But we have to keep hoping, we have to keep planting the seeds, we have to keep moving forward, and we have to keep pushing back for what we want. Because if we don't, we're all going to land up in a society where there's going to be the very rich and there's going to be the very poor. There's going to be no middle class. And it's happened in Zimbabwe, it's happened in all the communist countries. And Justin Trudeau says he supports the communist nations because he's at the top. So of course he's going to support them. Why wouldn't he? I don't support the communist nations. What people are trying to do with sanctions and all that with Zimbabwe is they're trying to implement good values so that Zimbabwe can come up. It can have a middle class, it can have a good education system. It can have not the very rich and the very poor, and where we can have a society where people can't buy the World Cup. If you look at all those workers that worked for the World Cup, they're all complaining of how badly they got treated. It's coming from them, from those Saudi nations, and the values that they're implementing. And all the things we worked for and fought for as women, all the generations that fought for our rights, that fought for us to work, that fought for us to get good wages, to be able to get a good education. All those things are starting to fall away. But if we don't come together and we don't help each other and we don't keep fighting for those things, it's not going to work. It's up to us. Look at what happened with the Toronto 18. Right here in Canada, there are terrorist groups that exist. And there are things going on that we don't know about. But it's terrifying to see it. So anyway, that's how it goes. I keep telling people I'm looking for extra work, I'm looking for new opportunities, because I can't manage on minimum wage. And I'm more than capable of holding a job that pays well, and I've been dedicated, I've been diligent. And so I'm going to keep telling people I'm applying for executive assistant work, I'm applying for office manager roles, and my condo manager is also looking for me. A lot of people know that I'm looking for other opportunities, and the more I can put it out there and the more I can tell people, hopefully I'll get that break and I'll get that opportunity to earn good money and to be able to save for retirement, to be able to travel. And I don't have to stay in Canada. But again, it comes back to, what do we believe? Do we believe we are only capable of holding minimum wage jobs that don't pay well? I don't believe that about myself. And if other people believe that, that's up to them. They can believe whatever they want, just like they didn't believe I could go to university, I could graduate, I could apply myself. I have done it. I've sat on boards, I've worked with senior leaders, and I am capable of doing it. And any of my supervisors will tell you that I'm capable. So we have to also keep fighting and keep hoping and keep trying to change things. I really don't know how Pope Francis could support the Great Reset, but I do hope that he's reevaluating his decisions, because women are the ones who are suffering the most. And instead of coming up and getting more income and more opportunities, it's becoming less and less and less. And we don't want that. I don't want it. We're women and we're different. And we should be able to take Jesus's values and make them our own. And the more we can spread good values into society, the more things will change for the better. But if we don't take our values and fight for what we want, the other nations are going to come up. The Muslims will come up. They're already in leadership positions in this country. The Hindus are also in leadership positions. So we as Christians also have to fight for our values, for what we want, for what we like. And we have to be strong in our convictions. Because if we don't do it, no one's going to do it for us.